Raise your hand, Gary. Make sure you raise your hand.
Speaking of that, what do you think of being number 2? You got a lot of number 1 votes.
I haven't seen it, so that's number 1 in recent weeks hadn't held on to it very long, so 2's probably a good place to be. So yeah, I'm happy that we're ranked high, and I'm happy for our league that all the teams in the league are ranked so high, but it's still too early in the season for that really to matter very much. But it does matter that we're off to a really good start.
Has K-State surprised you, and what do you think of OU coming in?
Well, K-State's had the best week of anybody's had in our league in a long time, probably winning both at Baylor and Texas in 1 week, and averaging 105 points a game and doing so. That's so impressive against 2 teams that guard. So impressive. So I don't know that they're probably not a huge surprise to people that see them every day, but to somebody seeing them without seeing them since last year, and with the roster change, even though you have some guys really contributed big time that were there last year in huge ways, just gives credence to the job that Coach Tang and his staff are doing over there. And OU, hey, winning at Tech is hard, and they go there and win at Tech. And they play different than a lot of teams in our league because they do such a great job of controlling pace, and Porter runs some really clever stuff. Yeah, it'll be a hard game. Last year we beat them twice, and we end up having a pretty good season. It took the last possession on both of them to beat them. So yeah, we know this will be a hard game.
Kind of to follow up on that, interesting, another team from Oklahoma coming in here undervalued. I think they're 7 points away from being undefeated in league. But just talk about.
They lose by 1 to Texas. They were down. What was the deal? They lose by 1. What ended up being 1 to Texas, and then to Iowa State was a last possession game, if I'm not mistaken. And then of course you win at Tech, so they're just 2 possessions away from being 3-0, and we're just a couple of possessions away from being 1-2. So that's how this league's going to be all year long, I think.
How about their personnel? What's different? What's the same from a year ago?
Well, Sherfield's a great addition. He can score the ball, and they're I don't know how Porter determines it, but their other starting guard, Milos, is a youngster that we recruited some. He's not having a good year. He's having a great freshman year. So they're really good in the backcourt, and then basically their other guys, the majority of them, whether it be the Grove brothers or Nolan or Heel, those guys are guys that we've seen before. So those 2 additions have really helped this ball club out a lot.
KJ, we were just talking about how much fun he's having this season. I'm wondering if you can tell that from the way he's playing, or if he's the same KJ maybe that you saw last season.
Yeah, usually you have more fun when you score 8 games in a row in double figures. So I don't even know if he took double figure shots last year, let alone score double figures in a game. So yeah, he's got to be having fun. I mean, he's so coachable when he tries hard. And, there's some things that KJ doesn't do great, but there's a lot of things that he does very, very well. And so, we're just trying to figure out a way to utilize him best. And that may vary game to game, with production. But certainly as of late, he's been, as productive as anybody we've had on our team when you talk about consistency.
How much fun has it been for you to use him this way and make it work? Because I think over the last 5 years or so, you've adapted, and maybe you've had to, but shown a lot more of that flexibility and willingness to, hey, we'll play this way because this is who we are and that kind of stuff. I mean, is that fun for you to have to do that? Or?
Yeah, I'm having fun. I'm having fun coaching them. I had fun coaching them last year. The thing about it is, when you go through league play, people adjust, people figure stuff out, all that stuff, and you gotta counter adjust and do some things like that. So, but it's been fun. There's a lot of things I think that we could do better. And there's going to be some challenges when teams take certain things away on how we generate offense without being able to just throw the ball inside. You know, you say that all the time. You know, you run bad offense and come away with 3 points, just a guy jump up and make a shot, or you run bad offense and throw it inside and score on a 3-foot jump hook. We've eliminated basically 50% of that. So last year's a lot of times, whatever we think about Davo, over the last couple of years, it was nice at the end of the clock. You could throw it to him and he can get a shot off or get fouled. And of course, down the stretch last year, he was, he wasn't probably the most touted big man in America, but down the stretch, he played better than any big man in America when it counted the most. And so, we don't have that potential to do that this year. And that's not a knock to anybody. We just don't have that potential, but we have potential to attack it in a variety of ways, maybe to get the same conclusion. And that to me has been fun trying to get there, without question.
I think you told us in the offseason that KJ probably play more on the perimeter. Did you always have in mind that, hey, if we need him at the 5 or down low, we can go there?
I practiced KJ predominantly on the perimeter up until November.
Oh, okay.
And I kept telling our big guys, if somebody doesn't start rebounding and defending the way we want and those sorts of things, I don't know if you understand, I'm going to move KJ to the 5. And that eliminates a lot of opportunities for folks, because this is not how I envisioned it going. Although the other guys have been fine, they haven't been as good as KJ. And so, and in that regard, not close. So this is something, there's not one player on our team that couldn't say, Coach did tell us this was going to happen. If we don't maybe step up and do the things necessary, because if your 5-man isn't a great defensive rebounder, or not a great rim protector, or not a great ball screen defender, or not a great screener, then why wouldn't you just play KJ? And that's kind of what has transpired. Now, hopefully, one of those other guys, and I think Zuby's shown signs, and I actually thought Zach did really well in the limited time he got the other day. And Ernest and Cam didn't have a chance, but they're not going to have a chance every day if KJ's playing 30 minutes a game. That means the other 4 guys would get 2.5 minutes a game. So that's not going to happen. So you may play 2 of those guys every game if KJ's playing well, and hope that you get good production in those limited minutes, because those limited minutes are still very, very important. But I have been very pleased how KJ, I don't know if you noticed the other day, KJ had 1 foul. We didn't put him back in until like the 8-minute mark, giving Zuby a chance or, to play or whatnot. And I thought that was the best strategy after the fact, because we saw how effective KJ was in the second half when he wasn't tired. So there were a lot of things that you kind of learn as you go. But certainly KJ's put himself in a position he's hard to take out.
I want to ask you too, do you find that maybe over the last handful of years, like I just mentioned, that you personally have been able to kind of adjust and adapt a little bit more than you used to? Am I reading that right? Or?
I would always say, to me, in my mind, we're always in our minds a heck of a lot better or adaptable than what other people actually think we are. I think we all do that. You can say, "Oh, I was so friendly to that person today." That person say, "No, you weren't. You're a jerk." But in my mind, we used to recruit the best players in the positions that we wanted them to be. So recruiting guys that could play high-low, recruiting guys that could, at the end of 10 seconds, switch a ball screen, but not until the 10 seconds. Recruit guys that fit the offense in which we tried to run. Now I think it's our job more than ever, especially with the flexibility of the roster, to coach the personnel, even if it makes you get out of your own comfort zone, that gives you the best chance to succeed. So if I were, telling any recruit out there, and I'm sure other coaches, give me the 5 best guys, and then we'll try to massage it to work it out, rather than I got to recruit a 4-man. The way we play now, no, we need to recruit 4 guards, and one of them needs to be tall, and one of them needs to play point guard. That's the only limitations that we have, and then hopefully all 4 can shoot. But that's kind of where we're at now, and it didn't used to be that way.
Coach, could I bother you with a basketball one-on-one question? What do you view as a difference in the skill sets between offensive rebounding and defensive rebounding? And how does that apply with KJ's situation, and then with KJ in there to the other guys around him?
That's actually a great question, because you statistically, KJ's a much better offensive rebounder than defensive rebounder, and I actually agree with that. Usually, from an offensive rebounding standpoint, you get a running start. With a running start, you're obviously a better jumper. Also, the responsibility of going to block somebody off doesn't happen near as much offensively as it does defensively. And whenever you're a 5-man and you're blocking out and you go make contact with somebody, if you're short, you have to make contact with somebody. You don't want it to be a jumping contest. If you're tall, just go get the ball. So Doak had a huge advantage defensive rebounding over KJ, because KJ, with the 6'10" guy, the advantage goes to him. With Doak being 6'10", 6'11", and a better athlete than everybody else, the advantage was always to Doak, if that makes any sense at all. So we didn't worry about Doak blocking off near as much as we worry about KJ. So defensive rebounding, sometimes with a shorter guy, the job may not be to get the rebound. The job is just to make sure your man doesn't get it. And that's one reason why, if Doak was on this team, Jalen and Kevin would not average as many rebounds. So that's one reason why their numbers are so good, because we got 2 guys, and Grady too. We got 2 guys, or 3 guys that can go get the ball from a guard position. That if you had a Oscar or even David or a Doak on your team, their numbers wouldn't be what they are, if that makes any sense at all.
You mentioned KJ being a hard guy to take out right now. I'm curious for someone like Ernest, who played a lot early in the year and maybe isn't playing as much now. How has he and those other guys reacted to this?
I think they've been good. I do. For the most part, when a guy's number's called, they've been ready to go. So I don't see negativity. Now does that not mean they're bothered? Or does that, well, I didn't come here thinking I was going to set the bench? Absolutely. I mean, everybody would think that. But when they were recruited, I don't think there was any intention of thinking that KJ would be our starting 5-man. And so, and anybody that watches us play would be foolish to say, well, you could be as good with playing KJ at the 4. That's not who we are right now. Now, could we develop into being a team where one of those guys could get good enough with their back to the basket and get good enough at that other stuff that we couldn't take them out? Sure, I hope that's the case. KJ hopes that's the case, because that means we'd have a better chance to win. But their attitudes have been fine. I don't. Ernest, you brought up Ernest's attitude's a 10. I mean, Zuby's attitude's a 10. Zach's been fantastic. Cam's been great. But inside, they're disappointed. That they're happy that we're doing fairly well, but they're disappointed that they're not more a part of it. That's just human nature.
Do you know anything more on MJ for tomorrow?
He had back spasms.
Yeah.
And it's something that will continue to possibly affect him regardless, because he's got the type of back or the type of injury he's had in the past, that if he lands wrong or whatever, and apparently the guys told me, he said, Coach, he went up and dunked one. You guys may have seen it, came down, landed funny, and then it triggered it. So I anticipate him practicing today. He may not could have yesterday, but he was a lot better after 3 or 4 treatments.
Anything else? Gary?
That was a bad deal for us potentially because everybody got in foul trouble right off the
Yeah.
bat. So it would've been nice to have MJ to put out there. So,
When will Cuff be back?
I don't know. I don't know. He's a long ways away from being able to practice. And even if he does practice, I'm not sure that he can get to the point where he was before he got hurt. I don't know about the time frame. So, we'll make a decision on him, whether or not he hopefully he can come back and practice some, but I don't know if he'll be 100% at all in the next month or two. I don't know that to be the case.
Dewan hit 9 threes in a row before he missed finally. Would that ever have shocked you in your couple years of knowing Dewan? And does this prove that he can do that shot?
Oh, yeah. Well, I think people are gonna have to guard him a little different now, and respect him, but I would be lying big time if you told me Dewan's gonna make 9 threes in a row at any time, during game situations. I've seen him do it in practice, but during game situations, yeah, that would be a surprise. It'd be a surprise if Jalen made 9 in a row in games too. It'd be a surprise if Grady makes 9 in a row. 9 in a row is pretty good shooting. We made a huge deal when LeGerald made 8 in a row, and it was unbelievable when he made 8 in a row. But to make 9 in a row, that's pretty remarkable. And then I think he missed his 10th and his 11th was an air ball or whatever. So even though he shot it great, we could still tighten a few things up probably.
All right, thanks, Coach.
All right, guys. Thank you.